Yes, welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am once again Chat Show. How are you? You don't say. Are you having yourself a lovely Father's Day? We are, in fact, going live across this great world of ours on the June 19th. Interview 116 here on Father's Day.
My God.
Right? And they said it wouldn't last. Sons of bitches. Sammy, did you call your pa today?
I did.
Wish him a happy Father's Day?
I did. I wished him a happy Father's Day the way I have always wished him a happy Father's Day, which is happy Father's Day to a real mother.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the tradition.
That is the tradition
in
our family every time, as if it's the first time he's hearing it.
Reminding you just how much he loves you. Mm-hmm. That's what he's doing by laughing.
I think it's his joke.
Oh, really?
So I believe that's how he wished his father a happy Father's Day. So the tradition continues.
It has been passed down from generations.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole family's hilarious, dating back to the Roman Levines.
The Roman Levines, they were a lot whinier. Uh-huh. If you can believe that.
No.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Yeah, they whined a little more.
Did they have food allergies?
Probably.
The Roman Levines?
There's a good chance. Are we even on camera right now? No. Yeah, we're not on camera. They have
there you are.
Yes, they did.
What tipped you off? Was
now
it
you're in
Kenny
HD.
running in front of
Was it Kenny running in front of the camera? I don't know. 116 this is?
We're not ready.
We're not ready.
Well, we made the switch to HD because the audience was complaining there weren't enough pores on the show. They wanted more pores, and now they have too many.
Now they've got them.
If and you ask me. I'm just back from Indianapolis, and boy, are my 500s tired.
Hi-yo.
Doesn't really work. I tried it on the plane. The guy sitting next to me said, "Yeah, it's not funny."
Did the cutters give you any guff?
Did give me a little. They gave me a little. I'll tell you what made me so very, very... First of all, thanks everyone in Indianapolis, including my dear friends Bob and Tom. You know, they were in 180 markets around the country in the morning, 5 million listeners. And Tom is like the greatest host ever, and he loves the podcast. And he talked about you two knuckleheads.
What?
Wants to know what Dr. Chen looks like.
Isn't that what we're all asking?
Isn't that what everyone's asking? Where's the Dr. Chen cam?
I spent the day with Dr. Chen on Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to a little trip to Disney. We're going to get to there. Don't you think we're not? But first, as a real tribute to Father's Day, we have a father and daughter team out there who put together a little, very short but lovely video tribute to our efforts here at the Chat Show. They are Emily and... What the hell was his name? I wrote it down because I knew I would forget, and sure enough. Emily and Robert?
I'm guessing.
Is that what you're going with, Sammy?
It's a pretty good guess.
It's a fairly good guess. Really? How about Emily and Terry Binion?
No, I think it's Robert.
Okay.
I'm sticking with Robert.
That's why it's one of those unisex names. That's how I threw you off.
Yeah. The father is Terry, so we need to work on that. We'll call him Robert. And now here's a little video that they made as a tribute to the Chat Show. Roll that, please.
Hello, and welcome to the Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am Chat Show, and you're not buffering. And as always, get out of my face.
Come on!
Wow. Right here.
Come on! Father and daughter, happy Father's Day to the Binions.
You know, I've been saying for 116 episodes that...
When are we going to get a replacement that's much younger?
I was saying, if you should fall ill or meet with an accident, I'm ready to step in.
Now we know.
Now we know who will actually step in.
Yes, Emily Binion. And thanks to her and her father, and wish him a happy Father's Day. And you almost rehearsed her enough. I felt she was a little under-rehearsed. I could just see Terry Binion right off camera going...
I gotta be honest, Kevin, I think she's a little more fluid than you are sometimes. You know, if you had one of those weekends where I just flew in, I may fall asleep.
I'll tell you this much, if there were cue cards, she reads a lot better than you do.
Oh, wow, job security cracking wise left and right over here. I resemble that comment. All right, well, so thank you to them. And Jamie, I want to hear about your mysterious trip to Disneyland with Dr. Chen.
How was it mysterious?
I
told you I was going.
I saw photographic evidence of what appeared to be Dr. Chen in a takeout Chinese food box. And I felt that it was immediately racist and hilarious, but he agreed to it, so how bad could any of it be? So what the...
Well, we spent our day at California Adventure because that's where the booze is. There's no booze in Disneyland.
I see what you're saying.
You have to go to DCA.
And it started with some beers from foreign lands?
It started with a pizza dog and a beer. As soon as we walk through the gates, Kenny's like, let's go get a beer. Where's the beer?
And this is at 9 a.m.?
And this is like at noon.
Okay.
But no, the takeout boxes, one of the attractions is there's a part of the park called a Bugs Land.
Sure.
Which is kind of like the Kiddie Land. And this was like a paratrooper ride. But
where else are you going to go when you're drinking?
Right, to Kiddie Land.
Yeah.
We rode the bumper cars and it was amazing.
Sure.
But this particular attraction with the takeout box was, it's they're bugs, so they make things out of like, I guess like trash they find or whatever. So
sure.
one of the cars was a takeout box. So I was like, we're riding this just so you can get in the takeout box and I could take a photo of it because it's perfectly racist.
I can't believe it was perfectly racist, and I can't believe you didn't load up that photo. We're going to have to make that arrangement for next show, next week. Damon Lindelof, whose name I can never pronounce. Say it for me once.
Lindelof.
Lindelof. There's an L in the middle.
Lindelof. You gotta kind of
Lindelof.
Lindelof. Yeah.
Lindelof.
Lindelof.
Levinelof. No?
It's not the same.
No. Okay. Lostlof.
Yeah, perfect.
Damon Lostlof.
Just call him Damon.
He's not going to show up.
Just call him Damon.
He's not going to show up, Sam. You know why?
Why is that?
Because you helped book the guest.
How dare you? How dare you?
One time.
One time.
One time.
He's one for
One
one.
time.
All right. Jamie, we had a run-in. We went to see J.J. Abrams' new opus, Super 8. As you were saying, it was not the something 9?
Well, I call it the Mediocre 9.
The Mediocre 9.
It's not Mediocre 9, it's Super 8.
It's Super 8.
Yeah.
How about more lens flares for no fucking reason in your little homage to Steven Spielberg? Can we lay off with the lens flare?
Are you talking about the blue that was constantly going?
Am I.
Yeah. What was
the
that?
The first 17 I enjoyed.
Yeah.
It was the latter 17 that I felt was a bit much. But by the way, if I'm really complaining, this is how picky I have to get. The film was a wonderful homage, and we enjoyed the performances and everything about it, except the picayune lens flare, the very, very precious lens flare. But Jamie, we had a run-in with a famous filmmaker. You want to take it from there?
We had a run-in with some trash. And then a famous filmmaker is what happened. Because we got into this theater, and it was not cleaned from the previous showing.
First time in my life.
It was, it was filthy.
The crew did not come in.
And this particular theater has assigned seats, so that's what's a problem.
You want to name them? Is it the old ArcLight?
No,
it's the AMC.
AMC.
Oh,
we're getting to that.
AMC.
My apologies.
Yeah. Oh, we can name them. The bastards.
But I let someone know. Like, I let an usher know, and he was like, yeah, I'll get right on that. And didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So then I had to then watch 5 rows in front of me, a Mr. John Landis pick up his own trash, not his own trash, someone else's trash. Excuse me. So he
from
could sit
his
down.
own seat.
From his own seat.
Before he could sit down, he had to pick up the nachos from the guest before him.
There's 2 things we've learned here. 1, AMC, get your shit together. 2, John Landis, after it all, not big enough that he won't clean up after the guy before him and sit down.
Right. He's still a human being.
Still humble.
Yeah.
Still a human being. Still like, yeah, well, I don't even complain. I'm John. No. There you go.
And Jamie, you went on the AMC's websites.
Well, no, they sent me, how ironically, they sent me a survey after this showing. So then, of course, knowing me, I love to fill out surveys.
Yeah, you do.
Because then you usually get a coupon at the end. But, so I filled out a survey, and I actually took a screenshot of what I wrote to AMC. I don't know if they want to
Let's put it up, but you have to read it for all the people downloading the audio. Yeah, please read.
Audio.
Please read.
It said, please tell us what we could do to improve your experience during your next visit to this AMC theater. And I replied, the auditorium was not clean between showings, causing patrons to remove leftover trash from their assigned seats. I let an usher know of this problem, and he ignored my request to pick up the trash. He said, I'll go and clean it right away, and never did. And I kid you not, filmmaker John Landis was also in this filthy auditorium, and I watched him pick up said trash before he sat. How embarrassing.
Yeah! Take that!
Take that, AMC.
In your AMC face. Nice.
Oh, and I also screamed at John Landis, see you next Wednesday. She did not look.
She did. She did scream, "See you next Wednesday."
And then after the Twilight trailer, I said, "You call those werewolf effects?"
Again, hoping for a reaction
He
from
did
Landis.
no look.
And then you later tweeted, "Fact."
Oh, I saw John Landis in the movie theater. Better fact, my head is still attached.
See, she finally went there.
Wow. Bring it
Everyone
on.
waits for the decapitation joke when you bring up John Landis. It's a closer.
And I'm done. My work is done.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for the report. You may be wondering where this lovely chapeau came from, this hat that I am donning, this handmade chapeau. The fine folks at Gurin Brothers made this beautiful hat. There's one in San Francisco, one here in Los Angeles. Get yourself over there. Mention Kevin Pollak's chat show and receive 10% off your purchase. How about that? And tell them how much you enjoy watching the show and seeing these lovely hats. Also, I forgot last week, I felt horrible. The fine folks at the Hermosa Beach Pita Pit are catering the show again. Woohoo! Last summer we were so happy when Zach was the guy that runs and owns the place, drove us down some pitas. We're like, "You're an angel. We love pitas." And now they're back. Even though we're suffering from June gloom, the lovely time of year here on the west side by the ocean. But they're bringing the pitas, and we're very excited. I want to thank Zach and the whole crew there in Hermosa Beach. If you're ever out there, please stop by the Pita Pit, mention the chat show and Sam Levine, and only pay an additional 10%.
Beat me to it.
Did I?
You sure did.
Was that your joke?
That was my joke. I was going to say, mention the chat show, pay 10% surcharge.
I'm so sorry.
How dare you.
All right. And today, Father, it's Father's Day, and we're giving you a tie. It's not much we know, it's just our way of showing you we think that you're a regular guy. You said that it was nice of us to bother, but it really was a pleasure to fuss. For according to our mother, you're our father, and that's good enough for us, yes. That's good enough for us. There we have the Groucho Marx tribute, horribly performed by myself. And now it's time for Ask Kevin. If only we had a graphic.
Ask Kevin.
Holy shit, someone did some work.
I think Dick Cavett just texted me.
How dare you?
Groucho looks better currently than Kevin. What does that mean?
Again, I resemble that guy.
I don't even know what that means.
This morning I shot a Levine in my pajamas. How I got in my pajamas, I'll never know. Ask Kevin is from Thomas Blair. Mr. Pollak, we're already off on the right start. I have now finally made it through every show in the archive, 4 days, he claims, and I'm going to experience my first live one tonight. Just wish I could describe how much I enjoyed them. Can't wait for tonight. Damn, I need to get alive. I think he meant life. Thanks. 4 days, every episode? Huh? Sammy, you're a Jew. Do a little math for us.
Yeah? You got an Asian right there. Like, I could reach out and touch him, and you come to me? That's only mathematics that concern money.
I see.
Doing this wrong.
This is not tax accounting.
This is not tax accounting. That's my department.
Straight up math.
Straight up arithmetic, that gentleman right there.
All right. I still find it impossible that, let's see, 96 hours could cover 115 interviews, many of which go 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Sure.
I think we've been lied to.
I would say.
Exaggeration? We'll give him credit for an exaggeration.
I think we're somewhere in the 230 department.
Yeah. So although that wasn't a question in the Ask Kevin world, it was a lovely comment that we needed to ask questions of you. What the fuck? And this one is from Smell My Feet. What? Kevin, have you ever been to jail? And if not, what's the closest you've ever came? What's the closest you ever came? Is that right?
You know, we don't have... Our fans
Wait, was this
excel in a lot of things.
Wait, I think this was written from prison.
Grammar is not one of them. Alive?
Yeah. So I need to be alive. Someone has written us from an orange jumpsuit. This is what I'm suggesting. I've not been to prison. Knock wood. I've not been to county lockup. I have not even spent the night in the Hooskow.
Not even one night in the drunk tank, the clink?
Not a single night in the tank. I've not put on the bracelets. I'm just going to keep knocking wood because I can't believe I made it this far without any of this happening. How close did I come? I did do Peter Falk for a policeman who pulled me over while I was speeding and might have been under the influence of a green leafy substance.
Green tea?
Yep. Had too much green tea, and I was wired.
You were really...
He came up to the window, and I got out of it, I believe, to this day by saying, "I'm sorry, officer. That was wrong of me. I'm certain that I was going too fast, although I find it hard to believe that I was even moving." And he laughed thusly and said, "All right, get out of here." And I think that's as close, because I really thought I was going away, but who doesn't think they're about to go to jail when they're stoned and get pulled over? Oh, my God. In fact, your brain just jumps right to the prison rape scene. You don't even, there's no in-between, there's no thumbprint, it's just, ah! All right, this last Ask Kevin is from my_leisure. That'd be at my_leisure from the Twitterverse. I was just wondering if you'd be able to read some of this new children's book as Walken. Oh, there's a new book. What's it called?
It's called Go the Fuck to Sleep.
Go the Fuck to Sleep. And Samuel Jackson did the audio book.
The audio
so this
narration.
person thinks I should read it as Christopher Walken.
Well, you tell that person, Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it.
Simpsons already did that. They had to walk and read Goodnight Moon. Simpsons did it.
Wow. Simpsons did it. In fact, everything funny over the last 20 years, you could say Simpsons did it.
Yeah.
Having said that, the cat nestles close to their kittens now. The lambs have laid down with the sheep. You're cozy and warm in your bed, my dear. Please, go the fuck to sleep. The windows are dark in the town, child. The whale huddled down in the deep. I'll read you one very last book if you swear you'll go the fuck to sleep. The eagles who soar through the sky are at rest, and the creatures who crawl, run, and creep. I know you're not thirsty. It's bullshit. Stop lying. Lie the fuck down, my darling, and sleep. There you go. Read that. That was a cold line reading, by the way.
Wow.
Should have read that beforehand.
That is impressive.
That was a cold read.
Was all of Joanna Man the same thing?
Wow. I expect that from the viewers, but not from the kick in the side. Holy shit. He went right to Joanna Man.
Oh, it was too easy.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry.
A little bit of T-ball.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. And now we have this week's winner of the Larry King game. A lovely T-shirt is coming your way. Michael Patrick Sullivan, please write us again an email at contact@kevinpollexchatshow.com. If you want your Ask Kevin's answered as well, write to us at contact@kevinpollexchatshow.com. And Michael Patrick Sullivan, write us one more time to tell us your shirt size and your address, because you are this week's winner with this Larry King game. In 1981, I had my prostate removed and donated to science. The removed gland suspended in a secret enzyme solution by a think tank of anonymous scientists, it proceeded to grow an entire new me. Today, that gland is a young man known as Justin Timberlake. JT, look into my eyes. This is your future. Smack over Arkansas. You've got cable there? You're on. Michael Patrick.
Nice.
Nice effort. All right. Nicely done. Thank you and yours. There was a new television show that everyone was talking about from the United Kingdom called The Office. And oh boy, when you got your hands on it, you went a little nutty. It was a sort of new version of the mockumentary, clearly inspired by the works of Christopher Guest and friends, as Ricky Gervais went on to explain in homage and tribute. But it did capture the funny bone of not only their nation, but ours as well, for those who in this country got a hold of it. Holy crap, it was a new kind of funny. And it was an exciting thing that people passed from friend to friend. When they announced that they were doing an American version, oh, the hubbub, the thumbing of noses the how dare you that followed was pretty thick. And what chance did this show have, everyone said? Well, they were smart enough to put together a cast. Yes, of course, the fish stinks from the head, so you've got Steve Carell to thank for that smell. And they put together a supporting cast that went on to become easily, I'll just say it, the strongest, funniest, correctly used, in support of each other in a way that the original Office never had. So what they did was they reinvented and made the show their own. And it took maybe a season before even the naysayers were going, fuck me, this show is fantastic. I believe they're going into their 8th season? I'm going to say 9th. 12th? I'm going to say 8th. Had it right the first time. Dumb fuck. And they've lost that smelly head. Steve Carell, the smelly head, has decided to spend a little more time with the wife and kids in a little thing called a film career. But he's left a legacy and also a supporting cast that will absolutely continue on. We're all very, very excited to see what comes in this 8th season. In the meantime, we are joined here by Oscar Nuñez, one of the proud cast members of said show. Hello, sir.
Thank you. I think you've said it all. Good
Yeah,
night. Good
thank
night.
you so much.
Thank you.
You've got a Father's
to
Day
add.
date you need to get to.
I do.
I was thrilled to see, first of all, our own Sam Levine comes from the New Jersey state, that you had some upbringing in the same state.
I did, but first,
Yes.
Larry King,
Sure.
George C. Scott, Patton.
Yes.
That's what I.
Yeah.
I'm like, you sons of bitches. Let me.
Yes.
I'm like, this sounds just like Patton.
It's an homage to the Patton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because it's supposed to be a bad Larry King.
Yeah.
Or a good Larry
Yeah,
King
yeah,
would
yeah.
sound nothing like Patton.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about, first of all, your experience, because I've heard enough about Sam with his experience in New Jersey.
Where did you grow up, Sam?
North Jersey, Fort Lee.
Union City.
Well, hey,
Kind of in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Hudson County?
Bergen County.
Bergen County. One county over. I was in Hudson County.
All right. So for you, the experience was what? In that neck of the woods.
Well, Fort Lee, let's say it was, I guess kind of like Westwood or Brentwood.
More Jewy.
Why do you...
Well, just say it. Say what everyone's thinking.
More Jewy.
Okay.
And ours was, I guess more like Los Angeles. For a little bit, right?
More diverse.
More diverse and maybe a little lower economic.
Working class?
Working class. Hoboken, Union City.
Sure.
I was in Union City, New Jersey City. All that area there. Yeah.
And what did Dad do?
Dad was in New Jersey.
You can say he ran money for the mob. It's fine if that was in fact the truth.
You've done your research, my friend. Turns out, my father. No, he was a lawyer in Cuba, and then in Boston he managed a factory, and in New Jersey he worked for an adoption center.
Wow.
Yeah, for an adoption agency. And I forgot the name of it, but he loved it. He loved his job there. He had several jobs before that job came through. He worked at the Harlem Hospital for some time in the psychiatric ward,
Holy crap.
doing social work,
Wow.
social services. He was a social worker.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he did.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, it was. Social work is just thankless, crazy. People in my family, my cousin Martha and my aunt Olga were also social workers.
Really?
And they tell you
They're
stuff.
just
I'm
taking
like,
on
why
the
are they
burdens
doing
of
it?
others
Why? Yeah.
and their emotional
Horrible.
baggage.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to those
Trying
people.
to help people.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Because we in show business, that's so foreign to us that you would be so giving of your time.
Well, who's looking out for us? Who's helping me? That's what I want to know.
And at what age did you turn away from all the giving and the sharing and the loving of the family and think of putting on the funny face? Because I started really young.
I don't think we have a choice in this matter.
Yeah.
You're either right. You don't like wake up and go, I'm going to be funny now. You're either an idiot or you're not when you're young. And
Yeah.
yeah, I always was funny in school, and
You
know.
suffered from the "Hey, look at me" disease at a pretty early.
Yeah, but I went to a private grammar school, and there were a lot of kids with that "Hey, look at me" disease. There were a lot of funny people, so it was like it was a lot of fun.
Wow. Well, that
Yeah.
seems more like Brentwood.
Yeah, I suppose it did.
Yeah.
Well, they did. They put my parents put my sister and me in a private school.
And what does that mean exactly? I mean, are you aware of it as a kid? I guess you're only aware of the situation you're in.
You're aware of it because you go back home and in your neighborhood, there's like half the kids are in private school and the other half are in public school. And you're like, you guys are idiots. And then they're still your friends, but you're like, you guys, you're not learning the same as we were wittier and smarter and would read things that they did, and it's just the way it is. And friends together, but
quoting French poets at the age of 7.
Yeah,
that sort
and
of thing.
the drill. And back we didn't have the bicycle helmets. This is the 60s and 70s, so it was a whole different time.
Yeah.
We played in the street. We played stickball.
Literally.
Yeah, Red Rover and Manhunt and all those things.
Car.
I feel like writing a book about games for kids.
The lost
games that kids don't know. They don't know the rules. They don't know how to. We used to play this game that this Vietnam vet showed us called Hot Peas and Butter.
First of all, you were taught a game by a Vietnam vet.
Yeah, he was a brother of a friend of ours.
And he wanted the kids to play a game with live ammunition?
The second he told us what the game was, he started laughing. He goes, "Why did I tell you?" Because our eyes lit up. We're like, we have to play this game. And I explained this game to people now, and they're like, "That's terrible. Why would you play that? We'll never teach our kids this."
And what's it called again?
Hot Peas and Butter. You have a home base.
Okay.
And then one guy gets picked, right? You choose, one guy gets picked. Everyone goes to home base and closes their eyes. Then the guy takes a belt. You take your belt, and you hide it behind a tire, in the bushes, everywhere. Then he goes, "Okay," and everybody starts running. And then you start going, "Cold, you're hot, you're cold, you're hotter, you're hotter." Whoever's hotter to the belt, you're like, "You're hot, you're on fire." And everybody gathers around, "You're on fire, you're not, you're warmer, And whoever takes out the belt starts whipping the other guys.
Of course.
You start whipping them from the waist down as hard as you can until you run back to base, and then you're safe at base. So everybody's just running back to base, and one of your friends is running behind you just whipping the crap out of them.
How is that part of the game? The whipping?
Because that's it. You don't want to get caught, but you want to get the belt.
So if you have the belt, everyone's going to come at you, so you have to defend yourself.
No, if you get the belt, you start whipping, so people have to run away to home base. When everyone's in home base, now it's your turn to hide the belt. It's a wonderful game.
Did anyone ever hear of anything remotely like this?
It's for males, and it's a wonderful game. Kids should play it. They should bring it back.
You should bring back the...
Where did you grow up? You never heard of this game? Sam, you never heard of Hot Peas and Butter by another name?
To be fair, the last minute and a half, we were having a little mic problems over here, but peripherally, it sounds like a game I used to play with my alcoholic uncle called Naked Puzzle Basement. That is a Patton Oswalt joke. I will take no credit for that.
Did it have the aspect of that? You're hot, you're cold. Because that's the fun
clearly.
Part. You're hot, you're cold. You're cold.
When you're
hot.
with the stinky uncle, you're definitely holding cold and hot. Yes.
But look how you turned out. Uncle did something right.
Yeah.
I am in show business.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so you're pretty young, and you're learning how to
I've taken up the entire interview explaining Hot Peas and Butter.
Find the belt and strike your friends below the waist with it.
As hard as you can until you run back to home base.
But now, is the thing you hide always a belt?
Yeah, you need something to whip people with.
I still don't understand the point of it.
What don't you understand about it? It's a fun game. You get back to home base, or you get whipped by the belt.
So
you want to get the belt.
Clearly, the object is to find the belt. Oh my God! All the kids want to find the belt.
All the boys and all girls.
And then the
play.
moment somebody else finds it, why would you stick around for the whipping?
You don't. You take off. You take off. But sometimes there's two guys holding the belt, and then one guy finally lets go and goes, "Oh shit!" and starts running.
Oh my God!
It's a wonderful game.
Hot Peas and Butter. And any connection that you could make between the title and how the game functions?
No, none whatsoever.
There's no connection.
No.
Now, when you were playing this game, were you thinking someday I'm going to audition for game shows, and I'm going to have my shit together, and I'm going to have a leg up? I'm going to have an advantage because I survived Hot Peas and Butter.
We played a lot of games. Steak ball, which I'm sure people know, and buck we called it.
What was the buck?
One kid stands on the wall, and then everyone else makes a line, and you come running, you jump on top of them and try to knock them over.
Of course.
You know that game.
Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played that one too, but that was at summer camp, and it had a different name.
Yeah, something pony it's called sometimes. Anyway, these are games from way back before computers were around.
Yeah. You had to entertain yourself. How about comedy albums or television shows featuring funny people? This is one of the ways that I would entertain myself when I wasn't getting beat up by the neighbors. Was there any of that?
Yes.
Like, who catches your eye first comedically? In any form, movies, theater, television? What's some of the early stuff that's
One of the funniest shows, I think, and a show that I loved was The Odd Couple.
Yeah.
With Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. Yeah, that I thought was really, really funny.
Now, you're in Jersey. Are you going into the city at all to see theater?
Yeah, we're going into the city. Going into the city, and yeah, I joined an improv group eventually in New York City. But yeah, Carol Burnett,
Yeah.
Monty Python. And the first comedy album I bought
Monty
was
Python, The Odd Couple, and Carol Burnett Show. These are the three influences that I wrote down, and I felt it was a very eclectic group.
Those are probably the three big ones.
So Monty Python you're catching on television.
Yeah, Monty Python when I was in high school.
Right.
And but even before then, when I was smaller, I remember watching the Red Skelton Show.
Sure.
I remember watching Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
That's probably as far back at sitcoms. I Dream of Jeannie, Mr. Ed.
And during any of that, was there a connection to it other than being entertained? Was there a thought process at all? When do you think it started in terms of?
I think it
that would be fun to do.
Well, it's always fun to do when you're in grammar school, making people laugh.
Right.
I wasn't thinking I could make a living at this, but I remember thinking, I can't stop it, and why stop it? And just being funny.
And the family agrees at this point that Oscar's the funny one?
Yeah, but no one in my family saying, keep being an idiot and a wise guy and an asshole. It's going to pay off. Keep doing that. That wasn't around. It's not
That's odd. That's strange.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's not like here where you're like 7. You go to auditions, and I remember being at an audition, and there was a bunch of little girls there, like, I don't know, 12 or 13. They're like, oh, you're on The Office, hey. And one of their moms came over, and we started talking, and she's like, when did you start? And I was like, well, I was like in my early 20s. And she's like, oh, you started late. And I was thinking, no, that's pretty early for the rest of America. Only here do you have, like, this whole thing of little kids going out and making it and acting adult, and they're little. It's a very weird phenomenon.
It's wrong.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's not the norm.
Right.
The norm is graduating high school, then seeing what you're going to do, and and all that stuff.
Has Fred Savage ever directed any of the shows? Because he's doing a lot of directing, and he sat here and talked about, of course, his youth as a child actor.
Sure.
One of the few that survived it with Sanity. But we talked about how you either have it together as a kid and the right support system from your parents, or you don't. And it goes horribly. Yeah.
Well, the parents have to make a stand early on and say, you know what, I don't care if you like me or not, I'm going to be your parent.
Right.
And then it turns out kind of okay, like Ron Howard.
Sure.
He said he still had to take out the garbage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But when it flips and the parent's like, what do you want? And the kid's calling you by your first name instead of mother or father.
Yeah.
And it gets weird.
Yeah, it's instantly wrong.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about going to college, you make it through high school somehow, right?
Yeah, I make it through high school somehow.
How good of a student are you? Good enough? Or good?
No, I went to 2 different high schools.
Okay.
So I went to one high school where it was Hudson Catholic, and there were Jesuit brothers there, and it was really intense. But it wasn't in my city; it was in Jersey City. I would have to take the bus and commute there. And in grammar school, I was beloved, and there were Cubans there, and Jersey City wasn't like that. It was a whole other city. And I was like the only Cuban in school and all that stuff. And it was like my first brush with racism. And I was like, this is weird. And so I only stayed there 2 years. And then I wussed out and went to the public school in my city.
Well, you say wussed out, but was there a sense of alienation? Was there really a sense of that?
Yeah, a little bit. But I could have buckled up.
Or did you just miss your friends?
All of the above. Yeah. But I went to the public school. And my parents said, well, why don't we'll put you in the private school to finish up the school.
Yeah.
St. Joseph's, which I should have gone to. And I said, no, don't bother by now. It's almost over anyway. And I went to public school so my high school was split. Like,
Right.
so I wasn't rah in high school. I was just like C, B, average, kind of, being funny, but partying a lot and hanging out. Not really focused on the future at all. Just kind of having a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
At what age do you think you start to acknowledge that as a Cuban you have this natural gift to be criminal?
Oh, that was early on, and it's not up to you when you're 7. You're 7 years old and you get a gift from your parents, a switchblade, and I'm like, really? Why? And they're like, you're Cuban. And I was like,
you may have noticed at the outset we kind of love stereotypes around here, and we all insist on falling into our own.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you mentioned it's interesting. You mentioned that the school in Jersey City was a first sense of, ooh, I'm the only one around here like me. Yeah, I mean, who could blame you for not wanting to stick around that, especially if you're having fun with your pals elsewhere anyway.
Sure, yeah.
And also there wasn't a push from the family to be strong academically, because your dad seems like a bit of an academic.
They can only do so much. They both are. They're my mom was a dentist and my dad was a lawyer in Cuba. But they got divorced when I was like 17.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But you followed the dentistry, Mr. Certified Dental Technician.
I became, because I had to do something.
I'll say.
And my cousin owned a dental laboratory, so I graduated. I was a dental technician.
Now, your cousin owns a laboratory.
Yeah, dental
laboratory. Does that
laboratory.
mean you have to do the work, or are you just going to get the diploma?
No. I went to school, nothing to do with the laboratory, but thinking when I graduate, I can work at his.
Oh, you have a place to work.
I have a place to work.
Gotcha. Sam, your father we spoke about earlier, still a dentist?
Still a dentist.
There you go.
My mom's retired.
Maybe they know each other.
In the Jersey area?
Did she practice in Jersey?
No, she practiced in Queens.
Still.
Alaska. Does he practice at Fort Lee?
He does.
Wow, that's very cool. So you're not afraid of dentists?
No.
Neither am I.
I was afraid of becoming a dentist. But not afraid of.
But you got certified. This is real.
It's a dental technician.
Yeah,
it's not a dentist.
No, of course. But I'll tell you, my experience of going to the dentist is the dental hygienist comes in and pretty much does all the work, and then the dentist comes in and says, "Yeah,
but I wasn't.
Let me just stick the pokey thing in there."
But I wasn't a hygienist, technician. So the dentist makes the thing. The impression, then sends it out to the technician, and he makes the teeth and the bridges and all that.
Gotcha. You're not working in a dentist's office.
Oh, you're in a laboratory.
You're in a laboratory.
In a
You're
room
making
by
implants.
yourself, making things. Yeah,
You're working with clay.
It's a wonderful, but it's a wonderful job. Don't get me wrong, it pays well, but it's just boring. It's not for me.
Right.
So I did that like maybe 6 months, maybe close to a year, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Is it around the same time that you find out about the shock of the funny? Or are you helping to found shock?
No. That was after.
Okay.
That was right after. That's around the time I started saying, I have to I have to I have to do what I want to do.
Right.
And I'm like, but I was too scared to say, I want to do stand-up. So I'm like, I'll be an actor,
Were you thinking of straight stand-up
I was
comedy?
terrified of it. I wanted to do something funny. I wanted to be funny, but I'm like, I'll be an actor. So I got the Backstage West, and I started auditioning for acting schools, and I got in one, and that's when I started doing that. Yeah.
And the shock of the funny was offshoot from that?
Yeah, that was an audition I went to, and there was a theater group, improv troupe starting. Shock of the Funny, and actually there's a group here called the Gay Mafia now in Los Angeles, and the artistic director from the Gay Mafia, that's the guy who started Shock of the Funny.
Wow.
Michael Player, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a buddy. I've known him for like 30 years. But anyway, he started Shock of the Funny, and I...
And how many people were in the Shock of the Funny troupe? Was there a big group that they would mix and match?
Yeah, I don't know. There was maybe 8 of us or something, or a dozen.
Not very big.
Yeah. And
there was a regular spot in the East Village that you worked out of?
First Avenue on 8th Street between First Avenue and Avenue A, underneath, like in a basement, underneath like this bookstore, the Anarchist bookstore.
Wow.
And it was just a crazy little theater the size of this desk.
Sure.
And we performed like Friday and Saturday nights, and like Saturday night, at 11 p.m. like clockwork, the guy from upstairs would get mad because we'd be making noise, and he'd come down
in the middle of the show.
And bang on the door with a hammer, poof, poof, and the people would be freaking out, and one of us would have to go up there like, "It'll be over soon. Don't worry about it."
The joy of performing.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Had you moved to the city at that point?
No,
still
lived in Jersey.
Right.
I moved to Queens at some point, and moved it and.
But
lived
you're still in your early 20s, aren't you? Or mid-20s at that point.
Mid.
So it's an unbelievably exciting time. You're actually pursuing.
Yes, it's exciting. I was in theater for the new city, and did street theater. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'm sorry, it sounded like you said you did street theater.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to know a little more about that. Please.
Well, there's a troupe called Theater for the New City, and it's in New York City. It's on 10th Street and 2nd Avenue. I think it's still there. And Crystal Field and George Barteniev are she's still alive, are the artistic directors, and it was this bunch of people, and they're somewhere like borderline homeless and crystal gypsies, women who own cats, and it was like actors, and we'd go around with big puppets and performing parks and stuff. It was insane. And
no drugs at all.
No drugs at all.
None whatsoever.
Absolutely none whatsoever.
No.
And it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But a sense of belonging and a sense of finding.
Yes, it was fun. It was fun to perform. Met a lot of, met a couple of people who like. One of the guys I met there, Joel, he and Mike Player from Shaka the Funny became partners later on in life, and they're still together. They got married actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And these are guys that you knew from that.
From down there, yes.
So you kept in touch with some of them.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing because we were talking about an awful long time ago, which is pretty great. Now, what about theater? Was there opportunity for you to audition for off Broadway or Broadway or?
Off Broadway, and I auditioned for something, and I got this part, and for the King of Coca-Cola, which was this really good off Broadway play, but they wanted me to be understudy, and I didn't want to be understudy for whatever reason. So I could have been equity, so I didn't do that. I should have, I guess, but
You didn't want it because it wasn't what you were striving.
Yeah, I wanted to be the lead in the thing, but I didn't do so much. Like I did this children's theater, and I did like this traveling theater with puppets. I didn't really do off Broadway or Broadway. It was more kind of like stuff like that until coming to LA and getting in the Groundlings.
Well, so I have to wonder whether there was a moment in time where you go from the sort of lofty playtime to, Los Angeles is, when you say go west, young man, in that situation, it's like it's time for you to take this seriously, almost.
I suppose it was.
Look, New York, clearly, you're learning a craft.
You're learning a craft. You're surviving.
Right.
It was. I worked in Bloomingdale's while I was doing Shaka the Funny.
A certain department, or they move you around? Did you have a favorite part of the story you preferred?
Yeah, customer service.
Why is that?
Customer service, because basically I give people. Well, Bloomingdale's has this policy where you can bring anything back. I don't know if they still have that, whether you bought it there or not. It's crazy. And I like refunding people. I hate confrontation, so I would refund people, and they would write letters like, "You're doing a great job" to my bosses, and they're like, "Keep up the good work." So then I got promoted to be shop manager of this thing, but that involved numbers, which I hate. So that's where it didn't.
So you were giving the store's money away, and you got bumped up.
And I got bumped up
to counting money.
And then to counting money, and then I'm like, I don't want to do that. But it was fun. It was fun being a.
So how did you get the courage to move to LA? Because at that point, it's rather either crazy youth or quite courageous.
Well, by that time, it wasn't so much youth.
Right.
I went.
You were 40.
Yeah, maybe I am. Like in this story arc, like a lot of weird stuff was when when my parents got divorced, it was later we found out it was because my dad was gay.
Sure.
So did you know that? Did you have that in your notes?
No.
So it was very traumatic. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I was partying a lot, and then I went to Florida to stay with my sister and brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law and I. He was a truck driver, and
running.
We did like some shady things, and then I kind of left her and went to LA, and I was heartbroken. Look, when I left New Jersey,
right,
I was living with this gal, right, and we broke up, and my heart was broken, and then
that youthful devastation.
Yeah, youthful 30-something, and I swear to God, I had an apartment where I was living. And I left the apartment to go stay with my brother-in-law and my sister just for a little while and come back.
When you came back?
I never came back.
Oh, really?
I never came back. I left everything.
Wow.
Like if you never went back to your house right now. It was nuts.
Wow.
And my landlord kept calling me up, and then my brother-in-law and I were doing some shady stuff in Florida. And
so the Cuban part is
Caesar
really...
wasn't so weird about this. and then my brother-in-law was like, well, there's a big job coming up. We're gonna make a lot of money. I'm like, and I told my landlord, do what the fuck you want with my shit. I'm not coming back. And he's like, I'm gonna put your shit out. I'm like, put it out. Okay. I never went back. All my paper, all my clothes, everything. I left everything in Jersey in my apartment.
Your history.
Crazy. We did the thing. It fell through. Of course, it was horrible. And so I left LA with $800 and came out here, and thought I was gonna get a job like that as a waiter or. And it took longer, and I went through my money. It was a little,
Did you have any family or friends?
Nothing.
Didn't know anyone.
Nothing. Then wow. I was like homeless for a day or two.
I'll say
out here, but not really because I had to, just because I wanted to.
You wanted to be homeless?
Yeah, I had to punish myself.
Okay.
And then I'm like, there's enough of that. So I called my cousin up, and I'm like, look, I'm in LA, and he goes, look. Call this guy up, Louis Leonardo.
Sure.
He knows you. He went to high school with me. This is my younger cousin. And I call this guy Louis. He goes, look, the key's under the mat. Come over. Let yourself in. And I went over. I crashed on this sofa. He got me a job. And here I am.
No. I'm going to need a little more from the keys under the mat to here I am. I'm sorry. It's not that we're running out of time. It's just, okay. So you get friend of the family. This is what it takes. It takes some kind of leg up. It takes some kind of connection to a family or friend. Something, you know. The fact that you came here with $800
here, people are going to say, "What's the shady stuff you were doing in Florida?"
Well, it's all online.
Yeah, and but I can't get into that. Isn't there like a
there's a statute of limitations?
Yeah, in 20 years.
I think you're fine. No,
it's Florida, so we can assume it was either smuggling immigrants and cocaine, right? Something like that.
No, we're not guessing. We're leaving the man his privacy. The fact that he opened Pandora's box is all I needed.
If it's one of those two things, say
it's
nothing.
Neither. It's what was it?
So smuggling immigrants or cocaine?
No, it's neither of those.
Look, we saw Scarface.
Yeah,
you only have to do so much math here. Cubans, Florida.
I want to kind of say what it.
You're under no onus to say anything you don't want.
That's when you're wrong, Sam.
Freon.
Freon. He was dealing Freon.
That's all I'm going to
That
say.
is the greatest.
Very well.
That is the greatest.
Do you guys know what that is?
I could have hoped for.
Okay. Oh yes.
Yeah, that's a drug for your car, the Freon.
That's a drug for your car. Yeah. Which they don't make anymore. It's done. But that's what you used to put in your refrigerator and car.
And by the way, valuable stuff.
Very, very extremely
if
valuable.
you could get it marked down, or dare I say, off the back of a truck, a fella could make a couple of bucks.
And
if you knew how to use it. Outside of your car or refrigerator.
I think we've got a first here on the chat show. We finally got our first Freon dealer. And it all comes back. All right, so you're crashing on a friend of the cousin's couch, and you're looking for work, but Louis, but you're also, at this point, I mean, you've come to L.A. for a reason. It wasn't to be a waiter. Are you thinking show business is out there, and that's why I'm going?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's enough with the Freon. It's enough with the craziness. It's
enough with that.
Also, it's enough with the puppets in the park. You're actually thinking, I'm going to go out there and get an agent and be an actor. Because you had done the theater. I mean, my understanding of Shock of the Funny was it was improvisational theater troupe.
Yeah, we were good. It was a good troupe. We I wish I could run off a list of alumni, but it was myself. There's this fellow.
No, but there was a sense that you later found at the Groundlings as well, which is organization and working in front of an audience and running sketches and improvising. And so by the time you get to the Groundlings, it's not too terribly difficult, I wouldn't think.
No, I was teaching improv at Shock of the Funny, some classes, and we performed in colleges and at a couple of corporate gigs. And yeah, when I came out and
did you know about the Groundlings before you got here?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
But when I came out, I couldn't audition. I just had to get work. So I waited tables. I was a teacher's aide. I did. I painted James Caan's house.
I'm going to need to know just a little bit about the painting of Jimmy Caan's house.
Jimmy Caan's house, and I worked for about a year until I could start auditioning and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, one of the jobs, I don't know how I got this job, but
Jimmy Caan's never there. He's at the Grotto at the Playboy.
He wasn't there.
Right.
His brother showed up one day.
Really?
I don't know why. We were there like 4 or 5 days working, and his brother showed up like at 11 in the morning, him and a woman, and they looked like they were up all night. They were dressed like they have been up, and then they were flying. And he came in and looked the place over and was talking to people, and I'm
he was like a real Jimmy Caan. He was a
but it was his brother.
But it was his brother.
And Jimmy Caan's place beautiful. Koi ponds, 3 koi ponds, chow dogs. And he wasn't there. We renovated the place and stuff.
So you get to audition for the Groundlings, and how exciting is this? Is there a sense when you arrive, this is my new home? Or
Yeah, first I auditioned for this place in the Valley called
Larry's House of Funny.
Yeah. What's the place in the Valley?
LA Comedy Connection?
LA Comedy Connection. And I auditioned, and they're like, yay, you can play here. This is good. And I'm like, all right. And then I told some people, and they're like, oh, no, you have to audition to the Groundlings. You have to go to the Groundlings. I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I went to the Groundlings. I'm like, oh, right, this place. So I auditioned there, and they're like, yeah, you can start class. And I went back to the guy, and I'm like, I can't. Yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah,
I'm like,
a little bit.
oh my God, I didn't expect that. I just never would have showed up.
Right.
But I went back, I said, look, I can't come. And he got so mad at me.
Did you explain to him that you left a whole apartment of belongings behind?
No, I didn't want to hear it. I said, I joined the Groundlings. He's like, the Groundlings,
Yeah.
and you'll never work in this town again. I'm like, oh,
Is that the first time
bye.
you heard that?
Yeah, and so I went to the Groundlings, and they wanted me to join in the basic thing, and I'm like, well, I did this for a while, and they're like, okay, join the second level. They let me. And that was it. Made a bunch of friends, and yeah, it's great. Groundlings this was years ago.
Yeah. And one of your teachers, I was reading somewhere that one of your teachers originally in the Groundlings, the two of you
Passed away, dear God. Who?
the two of you ended up acting together.
Karen Moriyama.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Right.
Yeah.
How great was that?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the improv style at Curb, because it's been broken down a couple times in terms of, here's the basic environment, here's the objective of the scene, and now we really need you to bring it. I know when you went in for Reno 911, it was more like, basically bring us some sort of character, realize, and we'll figure out whether we want this new character on the show.
Have you been on Curb?
No. I've known him a long time.
You'd have to go on as yourself because you're Kevin Pollak.
I'm in that gray area.
You are. No, you're
unfortunately.
Kevin. You can't be going as an accountant.
But when you audition for Curb, what is that
so much fun
experience like?
And you never get the first one. You always have to go back 2 or 3 times.
And you?
I think I went back twice, but I knew I did good the first time because they're all laughing and everything, and then it just didn't happen. They're like, "Don't worry, you'll be back. Don't worry, you'll be back."
Who's all there at the audition?
Larry was there. Jeff was there. I think Cheryl was there, but I'm not sure.
And you end up having scenes with Larry. No?
Sure. And I knew Cheryl from the Groundlings.
Right.
So, she's there. She's like, hey. And, and I had scenes with Larry.
Now, was this prior to The Office?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought.
And I had scenes with Larry, and I cracked them up, which is great.
It's so funny because you're about to start the 8th season of The Office, and I'm thinking, how much longer than that has Curb been around? But the truth of the matter is, it did start like 10 years ago.
Yes,
right?
Just a little bit longer than us, maybe a year or 2.
Right. Because he took more time off in between seasons also. He was one of those, I got to have 18 months between season 5 and 6.
Yeah, and they're lucky if he comes back, because you never know. He might just have had it. But
He's forgotten how to count money. That's what the problem is.
It's too high.
Yeah, it's forgotten.
He has to do like calculus to figure out how much he has. I did a scene with him, and have you seen the scene? It's like he's driving out and he wants his money back,
Yes.
and I'm like, you're playing a con job, and I said something. I said, have you seen The Spanish Prisoner? And he just started laughing, and they cut, and he was like, don't say that, don't say that. I'm like, all right, I won't say that. But you know what Larry doesn't like? Crying.
If you improvise crying?
If you do crying, he did a scene right in that thing with Nia
Nia Vardalos?
Vardalos, who was in the scene also. She was in the car behind. And he went up to her and confronted her, and she started crying. And he just walked away, and she's like, and the director came and goes, no crying. Larry doesn't like fake crying. No crying.
Wow.
So she couldn't do her thing.
And then you immediately started crying.
Yeah.
Because that's funny.
Way over the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. Curb is fantastic.
All right. We like to involve our live audience whenever possible. I'm going to go out to them now. They offer up questions from either Twitter or the chat room.
Okay.
This one actually comes from Facebook. Christopher Reddig, I want to say. Sure, why not? Who is the Office cast member who can always make you laugh no matter what mood you're in? That's a fine question. What an eclectic group.
What an eclectic group. You mean in character, or does he mean just hanging out?
No, the person, the actor, the actress. Someone on the set who just has a way of... there's always someone that's got your number. Like Carell probably has your number without really trying.
Carell's pretty funny. I mean, you just get tired of.
It's easy to keep a straight face around Creed. No.
Yeah, I can keep a straight face around everyone except sometimes Steve and Rain and Ed Helms.
Right.
When Ed Helms does Andy Bernard.
Then
I love that character. It reminds me of Floyd the Barber. It's just, it's just this character, and within the character, he gets to be the British guy and do all that within Andy Bernard.
Boy, that's a good point.
And he just cracks me up.
Yeah.
He just cracks me up it's such a great character. But when we're just messing around, Brian's a good friend, so
yeah,
you're just messing around. Brian's pretty funny, and I hang out with Angela and Kate in Creed.
I read somewhere you were saying that Creed, I wrote this down because I didn't want to, and now I can't find it, but he was in the Grassroots.
He really was, yes.
And you were saying, this guy partied with Joplin and fucking Hendrix.
Yeah. I think his second marriage, his best man was John Densmore, who was the drummer for The Doors.
Holy shit.
That was his best man. Yeah, Creed, and he toured Europe back in the late 60s.
It's an amazing collection because some
old.
of the cast, like Mindy and BJ, come from the writing side.
Yes.
Right? It seems like they were writers first.
Yeah, but they're funny too. BJ,
crazy talented.
Yeah, BJ does stand up, and they're Harvard kids. They're crazy, smart, funny.
Right.
But they're young.
Right.
So you can, you can say Floyd the Barber, and they won't know what you're talking about.
Right. Well, yeah, they're not that educated.
No.
But so by the time you come to the casting of The Office, because I know Carell wasn't on board.
No, Carell wasn't on board.
Who was on board that you knew of?
Nobody. They said that the names they were looking at for the lead were Bob Odenkirk, Damon Jones, I think Andy Richter, and somebody else. I don't know who. Somebody else. Those four names, and we were cast, and they were looking at those four.
So the whole supporting cast was put together.
I think everything was cast, and they were looking at. They weren't sure who was going to lead, and I was like, well, I know Damon, so I was kind of excited if they would have picked him or Andy. But I was like, oh.
Did you have to go in and play with the others as part of the casting process, or you were just cast individually?
No, we were just cast.
Right.
Yeah, they were pretty sure they had it, but I was like, oh, it's like you. I was like, this is not going to make it. We'll shoot a pilot and that's it.
Because of the British show, you thought. There's just so much scrutiny.
And because the lead, because I remember seeing the British one, and I'm like, Ricky Gervais is kind of a genius. He's really funny.
It's
ridiculous. And I love these guys, but I just don't see that. And then when they said Steve Carell was cast, I'm like, okay, we got a shot.
Exactly.
Because he has that something.
He's an original.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, we have a shot. We have a shot. This is really exciting now because we got Carell.
Who directed the pilot?
Ken Kwapis.
Wow.
Yeah. Ken Kwapis. And and then, like you said, you know, BJ and Mindy are writers on the show, and so is Paul Lieberstein, who plays Toby.
Right.
And so we have that, like, writers performing, which is very cool. And, like, Mindy's one of the funniest writers ever.
She does an amazing job.
Yeah, she really
and
does.
She's such a fully realized character also.
Yeah.
Everyone is fully realized. That's why it's so impressive.
Yeah, they all are.
To have that many regulars, first of all, it's very difficult for a writer, even if you're doing A, B, and C stories. So that's what I was saying about earlier at the top, about how this cast is so well-rounded and so unlike other television shows in the scope.
Yeah,
you know, it's an office space, so you look around, the camera sees everyone at times, or the cameras sees everyone at times, and you realize, holy shit, there's like 15 of them. It's crazy.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us. But you're right, it's weird. You don't realize it because you're in the middle doing it.
Right.
You know what that's like. You don't realize it till, I remember, I think it was our second or third season, and we had a Q&A at the DGA, and let me just throw in some more syllables just to...
Please.
We had a Q&A at the Directors Guild up here on Sunset Boulevard, and I think it was the second season, and people showed up.
By the way, I'm not sure where you're pointing.
Sunset Boulevard.
But we're nowhere.
Where am I?
We're nowhere.
Yeah, that way, sorry. And so, we're Santa Monica.
Worse, by the way.
Where you point to
Further away.
in LA.
Point to Mecca.
Anywho, you're at the DGA, and there's a Q&A, and it's becoming a...
Then people came from Texas and Arizona. I was like, oh, this is...
a thing.
This is a thing. This is like Seinfeld or Bob Newhart. I'm like, and we're doing it.
By the time you get to the convention in Scranton,
Yeah.
now you're talking about, well, you liken it to the Beatles arriving. I can't imagine what it was like for you guys to get off that jet.
There was a honeymoon couple from Ireland that decided they were going to New York and they detoured to
Scranton?
to Scranton to
PA.
see us.
You can't invite the Irish because they'll always show up. This is what I've learned.
Jamie found that out.
So they will always show.
Good point, darling.
And they're gorgeous.
So literally, well, let's jump around, because I am fascinated about this convention in Scranton. I don't think a lot of people know about this, obviously, other than the people of Scranton. How long in the works was this? Because this is fairly recent, right?
It was a couple of years ago, and they invited a bunch of us out there. And
so you'd already been on 5-6 years.
Yeah, and this is not even with the biggies. I don't think John or Jenna was there, or Steve, or Rain, and still, people showed up. It was, and we were escorted around town, like with
by the police.
Yes, because, and then we're like, this is silly. I'm going to get out and walk, and you walk a block and you'll be stopped 5-6 times by people. It's a beautiful small town, and people come up to you and talk, and they're like, we live over there. Come hang out at the porch later on, and we'll be out on the porch. And these are lawyers. These aren't like, I don't know why I made a cake voice. They're like, you know, the mayor of the town, you know. And Joe Biden was born there or something. They took us by the house. But, yeah, it was crazy.
Well, they must have tremendous pride.
Yeah, and there's a university there, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
Those kids are, you know. Yeah. We had a Q&A, and 10,000 people showed up at some auditorium or something.
Right. But now, when you say you did the pilot, in the sense is, we'll get our checks and we'll go. Even the first order wasn't a full order, right?
No, it was like 6.
Right.
We did the pilot, which was verbatim the same pilot as they did, but then every other show after that was original, was written for us. And I think they ordered 6 shows, and then people still kept their jobs, and then when they ordered 12, people started quitting their day jobs.
Oh, really?
I remember when Kay Flannery quit her job. She was so happy, because she's Irish, and she's very conservative and holds on to the, and she's like, I left my job, and you're like, good, don't worry about it, we'll be okay.
Boy, it really is. They make you earn your success when it starts out that shaky way. You know, Jason Alexander was here. Seinfeld Chronicles, the original version of the show, was only 4 episodes. And it was on Friday night. Nobody was watching it. And the test results were horrendous. In fact, they said, you know, this supporting cast is awful. That's with Jerry. We like Jerry, he's funny, but everyone else is horrible.
Who says this?
I know. Well,
the people?
The idiots, first of all. So let's.
I remember Larry when he in the documentary or whatever, and he's talking about it. He's like, and then they ordered 6 shows. Great, now I got to write. It's like, what were you doing before that, Larry?
Yeah.
Doing your crazy stand-up where you'd go on stage and look at the audience and walk off if you didn't like them.
That's exactly what he did.
Oh.
Sometimes he would literally go up, look at him and go, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah. He wouldn't even do a joke and test them.
No.
He would just look at him and go, I don't think so, and walk off stage. Fantastic.
Nothing personal.
So you get past the 6. You got a second season. Day jobs are being quit. But you as an actor, I mean, you've done guest star stuff on 24 and Reno 911, Curb, and this is your first series regular, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a sense of belonging, there's a sense of we're in this together, and there's a sense of a struggle. Can we make it past everyone getting off our fucking backs about being an American office? That doesn't happen till almost the end of the second season, I would think, because the first season was only 6 episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever that second pickup was.
Right. Right. It doesn't happen till then,
and somewhere in there, the writers, Greg and them, come to you and say, "Are you okay with your character being gay?"
Yeah, that was towards like the second season, but you know, even before that, you're not. I wasn't really worried if it got, because I'm like, oh, this is all gravy, and.
Yeah, you don't have a sense of what it's like to be in a 7-year run.
No, we don't. Yeah, but I remember like, I think like the 8th episode or something, talking to Brian Baumgartner, and I was like, dude, in 2 or 3 years, this show can win an Emmy for writing. I can see that, and it happened a lot sooner than that. It happens right away, and then they forget about you. That's just how it is. I didn't know that, but it happened a lot sooner than that.
Right.
But
they forget about you. What do you mean?
You know, as far as awards, SAG, and stuff like that, it's a very short, like, honeymoon period. Unless you get on some weird role like Alec Baldwin, who just keeps winning, you know.
Individuals, yeah, but the whole cast won a SAG award, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We won 2. Back, like, in our second or third season.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everything I've been saying about the cast suggests that I'm all in favor of you guys winning. But still, that's the big one, because it's voted on by your peers in a very specific ensemble category. And as great as your ensemble is, and I insist historical, almost every comedy is waving the flag of, what about our ensemble? Every comedy is an ensemble.
I know, but
it's a tough one.
It is a tough one, but I you know, I wasn't that worried when BJ wrote that episode with Diversity Day, and we had the cards. I was like, I wasn't worried about our show. Just like when I watched Seinfeld, and early on they had that episode that just took place in a Chinese restaurant where they couldn't get a seat. Do you remember that episode?
Very well.
I was like, this is it. I've never seen this before. This show's going to make it. I don't care. It has to make it. Now, you know, it could very well fail, but I remember that episode so clearly. I'm like, this is unbelievable. You don't remember that one? The whole episode is they're waiting to sit down at a Chinese restaurant. They never get a table. The whole restaurant isn't waiting. I'm like, this is incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
James Hong plays the Major D.
Nice.
Nice pull.
There's no Kramer in that episode.
There's no Kramer. And Jerry Seinfeld does that joke that was in front of everyone's face but never done, and he's like, all through it, he's just throwing away this line. He's like, I know that girl. Who is she? Who is she? I know her. I don't know. Who is she? And then finally, towards the end, she comes out and he's like, hey, you! And he doesn't know her name. And she's talking to him and he's like, yeah, just like, and you're just like, whatever. But that's how I felt when BJ wrote that thing. I'm like, this is really funny, BJ. This is a really funny episode.
Right.
Yeah.
And, all right, so let's jump around to some of the amazing directors you've had come into the show.
J.J. Abrams?
J.J. Abrams. What the fuck? I read that and I'm thinking, when? What? How early in his career did this happen?
He was 12.
Uh-huh. Well, he's only 14 now.
He directs and works the way Stephen King writes. He's just always doing something. I don't know how he does it. He's always working.
How many years ago?
He's done 2 episodes a couple of years ago.
And Jason Reitman's done a couple.
Jason Reitman's done a couple. Harold Ramis did an episode.
We've got huge fans
Paul.
here.
Paul Feig.
Paul Feig's done a couple of episodes. Paul was a showrunner for a little while.
At least a season, yeah.
When
Greg and then went to do Parks and Rec?
Exactly.
Yeah, Michael Schur.
He left Paul in charge.
Yeah.
Because he loves Paul, and he's like, Paul, oversee this for a while. So Paul was hanging out for a while. Who else directed? Whedon? Josh Whedon?
Oh, Josh Whedon, yeah.
Directed some episodes.
Give me a little of the Harold Ramis, because everyone's rushing to him with the stripes and the meatballs and the...
Uncle Harold. He shows up and he comes on setting. I don't know if he's read the script. He's just like, what are we doing? Roll. Well, the thing runs itself. The show runs itself. My sister could direct the show. But some people coming in, they're like really into it, and he's coming, what's the scene? Okay. So, we just hung out. And but it was great. It was great having him. Yeah, we took a lot of pictures with Harold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dubbed him Uncle Harold.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from the chat room for you, sir. If you could have anything in the world encased in Jell-O, what would it be? Talk about the very first episode. That's from the original Office first episode. Oh. Where Dwight's stapler is covered in Jell-O.
Which was a joke from the British one.
From the British one, yeah.
Yeah.
If you could have, this is from Ms. Jazz, at Ms. Jazz maybe. From the chat room, no, it's just Ms. Jazz. So yeah, did you see the British pilot before you shot?
My friend Regan Burns, very funny guy, and he's loves movies and TV and all that stuff. He's an actor, and a couple of years ago he said, I don't know if we were talking or whatever. He goes, nah, forget it. The funniest thing on TV right now is there's a show called The Office. It's on BBC. Check it out. It's the funniest thing in the world. And I'm like, all right. So I turn on BBC like this because I still have a channel from 1968, and I caught the show in the middle
of the season
of a show
of an episode.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, and I'm like watching. I'm like, why does he want me to watch a documentary about
people in an office?
I'm like, this is crazy, and
horrible.
I switched the channel, and we talked a little bit after that, and I'm like, I watched that show, and he's like. I'm like, that was awful. He's like, no, you idiot. Watch it from the beginning. Watch an entire episode. And I did, and I was like, oh, my God, this is the best.
Yeah.
This is sick.
It really did.
This is so funny.
Transcend.
And it's great because you don't know who Ricky Gervais is. So you're just watching, which is the best way to watch something.
Yeah.
Sexy Beast.
Yeah.
You watch a movie and you don't know anyone in there. You're like,
yeah.
Are these guys really mobsters? They must have cast mobsters.
Right.
But... yeah, it just knocked me off my, I'm like, this is fantastic.
Speaking of they must have, when people are first getting to know the supporting cast on the show, and as I said, at one point the show's creators come to you and say, look, do you mind if we make Oscar gay?
That, yeah.
They had already written the script. I love how you point this out. When they asked you, you were like, you've already written the script. I've seen the script. Why are you asking me?
Yeah. But
if I mind if he's gay.
Greg Daniels is I should have joked with him, but I didn't.
What I love about the depiction is and it's organic, but you had already created Oscar, and he was the sort of tight-assed accountant who, was a pretty boring, straight-laced guy. And then so when they feather in the coming out story, it was just kind of fun,
You know what I say, Kevin?
Yeah.
Writers should do that in the future. If you want to make a character gay, don't tell the actor.
Right.
Let him play. And then tell him, because when they told me, I'm like, oh, he's gay now. What do I have? And I'm like, no, you idiot, he was gay. You were, so just be how you were.
Well, yeah, because
if he would have been gay from the beginning, I would have done something.
Sure,
I would have started acting.
But to me, this is the thing about gay characters on television. Speaking as a
television watcher,
heterosexual with no experience in the homosexual world in terms
that we know of,
in terms of personalities. No, but the thing that starts to bother me, and actually what sort of turns me off in a lot of ways, is the flamboyancy. That's the only type of gay we're allowed to see on television.
Can I have a shawl? It's freezing in here. Jesus Christ.
Get the shawl. How many times do I have to ask? But the flamboyancy is, first of all, I have gay friends who are not flamboyant. And to them, it's like, why are we always depicted as a 13-year-old girl? I don't understand this.
I don't know.
Well, I have gay friends who are like that. I can't stand them.
They're not all like that.
Yeah, and I don't like to be around them. They're annoying. So I just love that Oscar was...
Did you see Larry King when he had If These Wolves Could Talk Too, and he had...
oh, God.
Did you see? How does it feel to play a lesbian? How did you play a lesbian? And Cameron, whoever it was,
Sharon Stone probably.
Cheryl Stone is like, Larry, how do I even answer that?
Yeah.
How does it feel like to play a lesbian?
But I think like you said, you had this incredible leg up where you were playing a character first.
Yeah.
And then you got to play a layer.
Yeah.
A layer had been peeled back from the onion.
Yeah.
All right, so then... Steve,
Yeah, because people are like, there's a lot of gay people who are like, look, I'm an accountant first, then I'm,
Right.
you know, then maybe I'm Cuban, then I'm Catholic, then I'm gay. I'm not like gay first, but some people are if you're not, you know, whatever.
Right.
Everyone's different.
Right.
So.
But the the audience of the show, is still getting to know you, the actor. So we were talking about, you didn't know who Ricky Gervais was, and then you saw Sexy Beast, and they get real gangsters. When the audience is still discovering The Office, the American version, and they're coming into new numbers in season 2, and suddenly they meet this character, Oscar, who's gay, you know, and then as the show progresses, you've got to have people coming up to you because it's such a believable, so-called straight-laced, regular person, where the assumptions are made, for better or worse. It doesn't really matter, but
Very few.
Really?
Most people. Yeah, I've had like one or
because
two.
there's such an ease about the performance.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's
one or
such
two really young gay guys are like, are you gay? And I'm like, no. And they're like, okay. But most people get that it's just like
a performance.
Yeah.
Right.
Most. Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen the show from the beginning, you know it's feathered in at some point down the line anyway.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about those people who discovered it in season 2 and season 3, and when they first tune in, he's already out.
Well, I've been.
Because I read one of the interviews and the guy was clearly gay that was interviewing you, and I could just hear the over-the-top flamboyance in his questions, and I loved your answers because they were sort of like, yeah, that's right. We're going to have a threesome with me and Steve Carell.
Yeah, and I think I know the thing you're talking about, and some of the people who interview you some of them are really good, and some of them aren't. They're like out of high school. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, that's true.
And he wasn't the brightest, you know.
Yeah, or sometimes they're just looking for an angle.
Yeah, and I don't know where he was going, but I remember it, and I'm like, yeah. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was nominated for a gala award, for a gay award, for something, and I thought it was great, and I invited my friends, the guy from the Gay Mafia, Joel and Michael, who've been gay all their lives, and I went with my manager and them. And they were cracking up because they're like, you know, Joel was in ACT UP in 1980, fucking fighting police because his friends were dying of AIDS and all this stuff. All this gay stuff, gay. And here I am playing a gay guy, and I get nominated. They're like, really? Really?
Our straight friend.
And I'm like, you guys, get with the program. You have to support the movement. They're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
So we all thought that was pretty funny.
That's pretty great, actually. Speaking of pretty great, and how's that for a transition?
That's a good
I think
one.
it's time for Who Tweeted? Roll the intro! Roll the intro, please! Shit.
Celebrities have so much to say.
Who tweeted?
Is the game we're gonna play.
That's her on the far right. That's Justin Bieber. That young lady, Justin Bieber, was on the far right.
Our guest pointed out that apparently we need to contact our friend
Graphics.
with the
Jeremy
Scott with the drawing of Bieber.
Do we buzz in?
Yes, you do. I'll go over the rules again.
Hey, Sammy, would you please explain how the game works to our guest?
Who tweeted? Thank you very much. You're so kind. I'm told there were some problems with my microphone, so I'm going to project today.
Are there problems still?
In case.
He's fine.
Oh, great. Then I'm not going to project. I'm going to talk really loud. Okay, so here's how it works. It is a series of 8 tweets. You and Kevin will be playing against each other. I will read one tweet at a time, and then at any point you can interrupt me that you think you know who authored that tweet. You ring in by saying your own name.
Look at those initials. How you like that?
You ring in by saying, okay.
Your own name. Let's say Oscar, and then
Okay.
I will point to you, and you have 3 seconds to tell me whether you think it's Tyra, Paris, or Bieber.
Okay.
Now you ring in, you get it right, you're going to get yourself 5 points. Ring in and get it wrong, you lose 3.
I was going to say, I'm glad that you added that, because then we could be yelling, you know.
Don't yell.
Oh, boy.
Do not yell.
Now you got to really think.
But here's the best part. We're not playing for shits and giggles.
We're not?
No.
What are we playing for?
How about that?
What?
How
cash
about that?
prize!
How
There's a
about
cash
that?
prize.
1 Pete Gammons $20 bill.
Nice.
Awesome.
There it is.
The,
And he dances!
the dancing
Magic.
Andrew Jackson. That's right. And by the way, he's always dancing towards you.
That's because I'm Jewish.
Look at that. That's wonderful.
It's because I'm a purebred Jew.
You have a
Purebred.
gravitational
Money
pull
just
on money.
finds us.
Steroid free.
All right.
Are you ready to play? Do you know the rules?
I believe so. Paris, Tyra,
Tyra.
or Justin.
Or Bieber. Yep. Tweet number 1. My mama gave me confidence to work my own style. What about you? Oscar. 3 seconds.
Oh, dear God. Justin Bieber.
Oh, sorry, no.
I was going to say Tyra based on the word mama.
That is correct.
The sass factor.
That would have been.
You
would've
lost
been
the
correct.
sass. No Canadian calls his mother mama.
It's all right. It's all right. It's just one. It's just one.
But
he does not.
I'm down -3?
You're down -3. He does not get any points.
I don't get any
because
points.
Whoever rings in, and it's yours to win or
You're
lose.
starting off in a hole. All right.
I get no points, but
you
he's
lose 3
been doing
points.
this show since 1964.
That's true.
And I just walk
That's
in
true.
and, okay, go ahead.
Classic Krusty.
No Canadian calls his mother mama.
Go ahead.
Tweet number 2.
Dear Lord.
Being known isn't good enough. It's what you are known for that matters. Think positive, live positive.
Kevin Paris.
It is tied at -3.
Yes, we're both in the hole together.
There was a hashtag
That was-
forward on that one.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
That was either Tyra or Paris.
That was Bieber.
Whoa!
That was Bieber.
The game is tough.
Wow.
It's a tough game.
All
not
right.
easy.
It's
All right.
back.
They're interchangeable. All these idiots can be saying that the.
Then you might as well guess.
It's all the same
Statistically,
thing.
you're going to be
Back
right.
to even.
You're going to be right a third
It's
of the
a
time.
6-question game.
8 question.
No, now it's
now
6.
it's 6.
Have Stephen
Damn straight.
Hawkins. Have Justin, Stephen, and then we could. This is just a crapshoot. Go ahead.
Tweet number 3.
I'm making a ham sandwich.
Stephen Hawkins.
He doesn't make ham sandwiches. He's a vegetarian. Tweet number 3. On my way to @Blizz Yogurt. Craving it. They make the best frozen yogurt.
It could be anyone. There's no.
Kevin Paris.
That is correct.
Yeah, baby, you know
correct.
it. You got to take a
I'm
chance.
afraid to answer. I'm down -3.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
You've got to swing again.
Tweet number 4.
Think stickball.
So bummed. Just drove all the way in brutal traffic to this Chick-fil-A, and there is a lot.
I'm tweaking.
Yes, Oscar, go.
Okay, you drove.
Please,
Traffic is brutal. Traffic is brutal. Tyra.
Oh,
It could be anyone. What's a Chick-fil-A? Tyra.
sorry, that was Paris.
Why did Paris go to
Paris.
Chick-fil-A? Come on.
I don't know.
That's not even fair.
I don't know.
This game is so rigged.
Well known that she loves fast food. She's always at In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Now you tell me this information.
You know, if only our guests would do a little bit of research before they showed up here, they
right.
could get $20.
All right.
My heart's palpitating.
All right. You know what? This is an anyone can win it game. Really, it's not that.
What's the score? Hold on.
-6
minus
to
6
plus
to positive 2.
There's only an 8
Lord.
point
How many?
swing.
Okay, go ahead.
It's okay.
They're going to go up in value towards the end.
Here we go.
Thank God.
Here we go. Tweet number 5. Just saw the 1999 movie The Best Man again. Why don't they make movies like that anymore? Such a great flick.
Satan himself.
What?
Which one is that?
All 3. Hold on. I just watched a chick flick.
I'm going to give him 5 seconds.
1999. Oh, Paris. Tyra.
Sorry, we're going to have to go to the judges on that. Which one did he say first?
Paris.
He said Paris. I'm afraid it was Tyra. So I can't.
No.
And you got, they're all young.
You got on Match Game.
Everything is-
And you got on, what other games did you get on?
But you understand, these are the same person. This is the same person. Paris, Tyra, and Justin, it's the same person.
It is the same person.
It's
They're
the same
never in the
person.
same room at the same time.
3-headed monster. All right, sir.
All right.
Step.
They don't disagree on anything. They all think everything's rad.
When's the last time Tyra said rad? Never said that? All
All right.
I wish I could take that last one back.
It's all right. It's all right.
Go ahead.
Tweet number 6. You make me a better me. Hashtag I love my fans.
Kevin Paris.
I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore.
That's actually the correct
I
answer.
don't care anymore who they are.
And that is incorrect.
Nice. Thank you, Kevin.
That was Bieber.
All right, we're both back in the negative.
They are both in the negative
We're both
zone.
back in the negative column.
There's no hints. There's no.
Tweet number 7. This is a tough one.
This is a tough one.
But it's tough because if you listen to it and you just do a little bit of...
There's a hint?
There's a little bit of a hint here.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know that you're going to pick up on it. Based on your track record.
I should always go with my second guess. That's what I should do.
My brother has been a U.S. soldier for over 20 years. Today I salute him and all of our brave, selfless military...
Tyra.
It's got to be.
That is correct!
You know what I did? Black, brother, her brother's black. What else is he going to do? Join the army.
Oh, my God.
Because the other guy's right.
Canadian's not in
You
there.
also could have gone with the Canadian.
Canadian's not in there, and
Look,
the Hiltons
Paris
are
brother-
not allowed.
Paris Hilton's brother doesn't need to join the army.
Right.
And Justin Bieber's Canadian, so it only needs Tyra.
That's what you meant.
That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah, that's nice. So here's what we got right now. We have -4 to -1.
Interesting. How you came to that.
Yeah, you subtracted 5 there.
No.
No, I disagree.
Okay. -4, -1.
You subtracted 5 instead of 3. He was -9.
I see. Good point.
See, why do you do the score? Trust the host. Trust the host. I got it.
He's right.
I got it. I'm a Jew.
It's
I'm a Jew.
-4.
I can work with little numbers. So it really is anyone's game.
It's anyone's game right now.
Okay.
And I'd like to point out, should Kevin ring in and get this wrong, we're tied.
Okay.
So you ring and get it right.
What question number is
So
it?
what I should do is
This
just
is
lay
the 8th and
back.
final tweet.
Is this the final tweet?
This is the 8th and final tweet, unless we should have a tie.
Okay.
Here we go. Tweet number 8. Just ordered the movie Hall Pass on Apple TV. Love Owen Wilson and Jason Sudeikis. They are hilarious. The Farrelly brothers, apostrophe S, are amazing.
Kevin Paris.
That is correct.
Wow. It could have been any one of them. It could have been any one of them.
Except for Tyra, just because she did the one prior, and I thought you wouldn't do 2 in a row. But I guess it was possible.
Well, you should do 2 in a row.
Yeah, right.
Next time.
Actually, he did do 2 in a row.
I've done 2
Sammy,
in a row.
thank you so much, Sammy.
Thank you very much.
What a
Get it
great
next time.
round.
What a
That
fun
was
game.
That
I'll get
was
you next time.
What a fun game. Every single wrong answer.
Celebrities have so much to say.
Any one of them.
Yes.
Is the game that we just
To
played.
be easy.
I ate waffles. They're delicious and sweet. Paris, Tyra. I watched the movie. Yay for me.
Now, I don't want you to think this is the only time our guest has had a meltdown on a game show. Turns out in 1998, he was a guest on Match Game. And his what do you call the person you're playing? His opponent. You gave some beautiful answer, which I agreed your answer was so great, and none of them got it. And then your opponent gets like 5 or 6 points, and you realize you basically had no chance of catching up. So do you remember what the fill in the blank thing was? How it went?
Yeah, the it was Match Game, and by the way, I've been on Win, Lose or Draw, and I won like $4,500 when I first got here. But yeah, this was Match Game, and she was ahead of me a little bit. And the question for me that I would have caught up to her and won was, George Hamilton is so vain that when he swings through the jungles of Beverly Hills, in one hand he holds a rope, in the other a blank. George Hamilton is so vain.
A mirror.
Obviously, it's a mirror.
That's what I said. Yeah. Not one match. I got cigar. I got suntan lotion. They said other stuff.
They went with what George Hamilton's known for as opposed to the
Listening
thing, which
to the
is
thing.
vain.
Yeah, vain. And then they're all laughing. They're like, ah, and I'm like, don't laugh. I could have won.
Yeah, they're trying to make each other laugh.
Yeah, and I'm like, and then I got mad, and then the thing was...
and then the girl got like 6 in a row, or 5 out of 6.
No, the game was over, and then the thing for me was like, Susie is a pet masseuse in Malibu, but instead of giving a Shih Tzu job, she gives blank jobs. And I said blow, and they stopped the show. They said stop.
Come
The producers came down.
You had a meltdown on that game show.
The producers came down and spoke to me, and,
And in 13 years, he's learned nothing.
and they're like, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Did they come to you and say, why would you say blow?
Yeah, and I said, "Cause I don't know why."
Because there's no chance they're all going to say mirror.
Yeah.
You've been a member of the Writers Guild for a very long time.
That's news to me.
Well,
The Writers Guild?
You graduated from the Warner Brothers Comedy Writers Workshop.
I did, but
and then you were a finalist on the ABC Latino Writers Project.
Yeah, but
I foolishly assumed that meant
no. I never joined the guild
until you pitched and sold the show to Comedy Central.
Non-union. When we were that year, we would have joined the guild. After we had 10 episodes, and then we didn't get picked
halfway
up.
home.
Yeah, we didn't get picked up. But had we got picked up, I think we were in negotiations with other showrunners there,
right?
Whether or not we were going to join the guild.
And Halfway Home was a show that you co-created or created yourself?
Co-created with Damon Jones, who directed it, which was one of the guys who was going to be
on The Office.
The Office.
Right. And how did you know him? Just from around?
From the Groundlings. Everybody was from the Groundlings. Kevin Ruff was from the Groundlings. It was us three and my manager, Bruce Smith, who handles Maria Bamford also. So I know Maria. But I was in the writers program in 1998 with Michael Player, the guy from the Gay Mafia.
Holy shit.
The gay guy. It's all a thing.
Yeah.
We got into the Writers Guild. We wrote a spec for Frasier.
You and
Michael Player, and there was 2,400 applicants, and then they picked 24 people to interview.
Wow.
No, they picked 50 people to interview, and then they picked 24 from the program, and we got into the program, and we're talking to the other people there, and they're like, "We've submitted 7 specs, and we're like, "It was our first one," and they were like, they couldn't believe it.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun writing for Frasier, spec, whatever.
Right.
And yeah, we got a lit agent after that, and nothing happened. But we almost got work.
Right.
Yeah.
But then in 2007, you sold the show to Comedy Central. Halfway Home.
Yes.
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, we did a couple of short videos, and
had you pitched a bunch of shows prior to that to the networks? Because that's a hard room to get into.
Yeah, how did I get into that room?
Well, you're on The Office. That can't hurt.
I'm on The Office, but I got on Reno 911. And then the Reno 911 episode that I did, they split into 2 episodes.
And then you ended up being in the movie as well.
Yeah, I got cut out of the movie, but that's okay. But they split up.
You were asked to be in the movie. That's
yes,
because they had such a huge cast over the years of doing Reno 911. Yeah. The fact that you were, I mean, that was pretty cool.
I flew out to Florida and did it. It was great.
Yeah.
But we did 2 episodes, and John, Tom, and Carrie went to the people at Comedy Central and said, "You should have a meeting with Oscar." And they're like, "Oh, we know Oscar. Yeah, let's set up a meeting." And they did. They're like, "We want you to come in and pitch something." And then...
so that's how it happened.
Yeah, and myself and Damon, we went and videotaped something. We didn't want to go in and pitch a show, because we've been to pitch meetings before, and you just pitch, and then you go away sad, and nothing happens. They don't get it.
Right.
So we videotaped something and said, here's the show, those are the people we want in it, and Damon directed it, and there it is.
So you did a couple of scenes from what the show would ultimately be?
Yeah, we did a sketch show. Right. We did a sketch show with Rachel Harris, and Cheryl Hines helped us do it. And it was really funny, and they're like, because we wanted to do a sketch show. And they said, "You guys are so funny, this is great. We just signed this guy, Dave Chappelle, to do a sketch show for us.
But he's only going to last 2 years.
So we don't want a sketch show. But come back with something else." And then we filmed something else, and we came back again. They're like, "You guys are great. Stop filming stuff. You can come in now and just pitch. We get it. You guys want to do this. It's cool. You don't have to film any more stuff. Just come in and pitch." So we stopped filming stuff, and we just came in and pitch. And
Halfway Home was it?
Halfway Home was it. And we had a whole list of stuff. And we're like, you realize the ones we're telling you now are the funnier ones, and now we're just going down the list. And the one they liked was like not the first pick, but that's the one they wanted. So
yeah. Because they liked the premise.
Because they liked the premise.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Greg Daniels, being Ubermensch,
said,
"How about if you take 10 weeks off and go do this thing?"
He said, "You can go." And that's when they wrote the gay episode.
While you were gone?
No, that's the reason I left, because I don't know what happened. He kissed me, so I got mad, and I left on an extended vacation.
That's how they wrote it in.
That's how they wrote it in.
Speaking of the kiss, pretty terrific that it was improvised. I don't know that everyone knows that, because it was such a great moment for the show. I found that surprising in the research.
That's Steve Carell.
That you guys, of course, improvise a number of takes. A lot of people think the majority of the show is improvised, like Curb, but of course it's 90% scripted, and then 10%, if you're lucky, you'll get a little extra time, because there's not a whole lot of time on single camera.
No, it's not.
Right.
It's the show's 20 minutes or 19 minutes when all is said and done with commercials,
right.
but we film enough to do a 40-minute funny, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's coming at you. You're doing an extra take or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's coming at you. And he's not stopping. He's getting closer. He's getting closer.
Yeah, he's like here, and I'm like, oh, okay.
He's gonna kiss me.
Yeah, and then you hear the snickers and everything, and I'm like, please, I hope the cameras are on
Don't
us
ruin
and
the take.
and not them. Yeah, but they were good. They showed the takes were awesome. They have like BJ going like this, and Jenna going like this. It was perfect.
It really was perfect.
Yeah,
that's why I think everyone just assumed it was written in, because that. You know.
It was not. Yeah, it was not. It was very funny.
It's called committing to the bit. Corolla stand-in.
And I just did his podcast a little while ago.
Did you have fun? He's the only, we've done you're 116. He's the only one that sat here, and I felt like I was being yelled at for an hour.
Did you get a word in? Because when I went to see him.
You can't help but love him. I mean,
he's Adam. He's Adam.
Yeah.
Larry. Oh gosh, what's the stand-up's name? Larry.
Cable guy.
Larry Miller.
Larry Miller, not the cable guy. Larry Miller.
Larry Miller.
Yeah, was there before me, and he was just sitting there, and once in a while he'd speak up, but it was basically Adam, and I thought, okay, this is what I'm in for, so I was ready.
Yeah.
And he just rants and rants and.
Yeah, I make the mistake of listening.
You know.
Here.
Yeah, you talk. Yeah, well, you know, he. Yeah, so that was his show. Yeah, it was great.
You were his stand-in on the Man Show.
Yes.
And my experiences with stand-ins, not to take anything away from any of them, and I look forward to when the day might come when I meet one of the people who says, I was your stand-in. My sense with the stand-in is, most of the time, yeah, this guy's not going to.
No,
he's not going to.
Same thing with extras. Yeah, they're crazy. Most of them are crazy.
He said that.
A lot of them are crazy. A lot of them are crazy.
So you're Adam's stand-in.
Yeah, and my manager's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm like, pay my rent. Why don't you? Then I won't do that.
Right.
Yeah, I had to do it. It's the same as waiting.
But you're working every day on a television show. You're around the experience of it, and you're getting a real sense of...
Yeah, it's fun. You don't want to hang out too much doing that. You don't want to be there for years and years and years, because then that's what you're doing.
How many years did you put in?
23, I believe. No, just a couple, but right. It was fun, and I think I suggested one thing that they used or something, but that's the rarity. You just keep your mouth shut and you're just there. But it was fun. It was a good gig, and it was nice. Adam and Jimmy are very nice guys.
Yeah.
And it was very cool to be there on the set with them and all that stuff. Yeah.
At Kath Leary.
Oh, before you get to another one, you didn't answer the previous one.
Really?
The Jell-O. He never answered.
Because I felt it was just a reference to the very first pilot episode. Okay.
What do I want in Jell-O?
Yeah. What would you like to see encased in Jell-O?
Jell-O. A different flavored Jell-O.
Wow.
That's original.
Nice.
Yeah,
that is
a different flavor.
It's like a turducken, but Jell-O.
Yeah, like pineapple with a cherry Jell-O inside of it.
It's a Jew-Dunkin'.
There you go.
A Gel Dunkin'. I thought there was a tweet 5 in there somewhere during the few things I looked at, but let's offer up this one. It's not at Kath Leary. The dance scene from The Proposal was excellent. How much did Ann Fletcher, the director, direct, or did she just let you go?
By the way, you were right about going to the bathroom before the show started.
We're almost done.
I'm like, nah, I went, fine. And I'm like, you know what? Excuse me.
Would you like some more water?
Yes, please. Ann's awesome.
Everyone loves that dance scene, so how much people are dying to know?
There's coffee in there, don't?
Oh, yeah.
But I would
fresh mug, maybe?
Ann's a choreographer. That's how she started.
Right.
So, of course, she had something to say. I was in Boston.
Okay.
And I was going to do we were going to shoot the scene or whatever, and I was in Boston. I had a day or two before we started shooting. And I called my my girlfriend at the time, Ursula, and I'm like, they want me to go in. This is a phone. I'm like, they want me to go in and she wants to rehearse the dance scene. Why? You know how I do. I'm just gonna go and do it. I'm funny on it. And she's like, no, you idiot. It's a movie. She needs you to be at a certain place for the camera. You have to go in and I'm like, oh right, whatever. And of course I was gonna go in, but I'm so glad I did. And she's like, yeah, you have to hear your, here's your spot here, here, and here, and they helped me with some basic moves, and then within that, I was able to add stuff, and so yeah, some of it was, like Kevin said earlier about the script, it's like 90% was choreographed. Her and this fella who helped us, I forgot the kid's name.
Danny Terrio.
Yes, Danny Terrio, and
that already got water in it. You can hand it right over there. Look at that.
Jason McIntyre.
Look at that shot.
Thank you, Jason.
That's J-Mac. No problem. That's J-Mac getting it done. I'm just going to pour this over the
Why
computer.
am I drinking? I said I just had to go to the bathroom and I'm drinking.
That'll take your mind off it.
And
you had the diuretic, but the coffee.
So it was choreographed with a little bit of improv.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But fun.
Yeah, it was. That was the first scene we shot of that movie.
What?
That was the first scene we shot of that movie. It was at 7 a.m. and I came out on stage and they were there already sitting down. They being Sandra, Betty White, Mary Steenburgen, and I'm in a robe meeting them for the first time. Hello, Betty.
I'm about to.
I love you. Hello, Mary Steenburgen. Here we go. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I was nervous like for 2 minutes. Then I was like, and it started out at 7 a.m. in the morning, lots of energy. Ended like at 7 p.m. Just
really?
like a long bear of a day.
Oscar, we just need another angle over your shoulder onto their faces.
And I so wanted to complain. I'm like, I am so done. But you look over and Betty White's there, and you're like, I'm going to complain, and Betty White's here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was fun.
This was fun, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh, we're done.
We're just about done. And not just because you have to urinate, although...
Oh, I went already. It's fine.
I want you to start focusing a little bit on the Larry King game. All
Okay.
right? I'll go over the rules again. I want a bad Larry King impression. Don't give me a good one. Mine was George C. Scott, so it's got to be bad.
Okay.
And then Larry shares something. Why? We don't know. It's unnecessary. Why is he sharing? It should be that moment. And then go to the phone. The name of the city is funny sounding. It's helpful.
I'm trying to think of a thing. Let me.
Yeah, give it a little thought. Daytime Emmy Award. How about that for The Accountants? Was that the web series?
Yes, it was.
Pretty fucking sweet, dude. That had to feel good, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Because now, I mean, NBC seemed to be one of the first networks that were having their comedies, their supporting cast do a like side project. But 30 Rock's been doing one. They didn't win no damn Emmy Award.
Funny show.
Yeah. Whoa, 30 Rock? Oh, we love the show. It's fantastic. I'm just saying, you guys got the daytime Emmy for the web
did,
series.
and it was a great idea to think of those things, those webisodes. That's pretty cool.
It was fun, right?
Yeah, it was fun, and it was fun going to the daytime awards with it was myself, Brian, and Angela, and it was so much fun. The Accountants, yeah, and we won, and yeah.
You went up to accept?
Yeah, we went up to present and to accept.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Those little perks are sweet.
Yeah.
Again, that trip to Scranton for the fucking convention must have just been such a party, just a sort of a sense of, look, guys, celebration.
Yeah,
it's a celebration of a success.
Doesn't get better than that. And Angela, who I've known for years and years and years, I didn't know she was cast in the show. She was not in the pilot. When I went back to start shooting, she was there in the accountant's seat, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "I'm on the show." I'm like,
"Oh God."
Yeah, it was amazing.
One bonus after another.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Obviously, you've got. Let's see, we're June 19th, so you've got about 5-6 weeks before 5 weeks really at the most before you have to report back to work for season 8. All kinds of rumors about who a so-called replacement might be for Michael Scott. We're not going to ask you. We're not going to put that kind of pressure. You wouldn't tell us even if you knew. But
Christopher Walken.
Turns out I'd like to audition as Christopher Walken.
Oh.
Hey, who's in charge? Where's the accounting department? They must be here somewhere. Who pays the checks around here? You?
You do, sir.
I do. I write checks. I like this job. I can run an office. Hey, pretty boy, come here. Get me some coffee. What's his name? Jim?
Jim.
Jim. Java. Too sweet. Stop.
Perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm going to do my gym. I'm going to do my gym now.
Yeah, please, give me the gym. You looked in the camera. You didn't take the camera. I see what you
There
did.
you go.
You didn't take the camera.
Thank you. Love crowds.
That's called doing a gym. When you didn't take the camera.
Did you see when SNL did the Japanese office?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty damn
pretty
good. That kind of a tribute's got to feel great.
Yeah, oh, the best. By the way, we don't know who's going to, we have no idea what's going on.
Right. That's what I was reading, which I thought was pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
But you guys, I mean, the obvious go-to assumption would be that it's very, very sad, very bittersweet to see Steve Carell go. But at the same time, you guys have to be so thrilled for him and for his family. You got to know his wife in the last 7 years, and you guys are all family at this point. It's ridiculous how much time you end up spending together.
They're all beautiful. He's got two beautiful kids, his wife, Nancy, and his mistress, Sarah.
Right.
All of them.
She was at the party also.
She was at the party also. They're Nancy's very cool. And they're all wonderful.
Guma.
Wonderful.
Talking about the Guma.
Yeah,
it's bittersweet.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're going back in July, and I miss him already. He's not going to be there.
Right.
He's great, and
what a treat. Will
We'll go on. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's, you can't replace Steve. But we'll have fun anyway. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, the exciting thing for those of us who are genuine fans of the show is, we're on the mission with you. We're on the travel.
Yeah, and heck of a funny guy. Good actor.
Yeah.
Made you cry.
Well, Little Miss Sunshine, the depth of the actor.
Yeah.
Forward and backward. It's ridiculous. And of course, you're right. The finale, the episodes leading up to it, and the finale, you're absolutely crying. You can't help it.
No. Well, we're crying for like 2 weeks before he left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Will Ferrell being the perfect goofball to accompany.
Yeah. And the perfect overlap, because he knows Steve, and
right.
He's just a great guy, and yeah, it was great having him there.
I'm not actually thirsty. I'm just taking a sip to remind you how badly you have to pee.
Liquidy wet.
Larry King, when you're ready, there's your camera.
I have a joke constructed in my head. It's not going to work, but here we go. So what's the bit that he?
Bad impression.
And go into.
Share something about yourself. Larry does. Don't share anything about Oscar. Larry shares something about his past, his life, his present, whatever, and then go to the phone.
Well, we just had a phone call from William in Hoboken, and William, thank you for the compliment, but I'm not wearing a shirt today. Now we've got Mary in Kansas City. You're on the air, Mary.
He's not wearing a shirt.
He's not wearing a shirt.
The skin is too wrinkled. You don't know.
That's what it is. You don't know.
He's got an alligator skin. You don't know right away.
You don't know.
You think it's a checkered shirt.
Yeah, he still wore the suspenders.
Still have the suspenders.
Everyone makes him more gravelier than he is. He's not that gravelly.
Not really.
But what else are you supposed to do?
There's not enough there.
No. And he keeps going on Conan.
I know.
Conan loves him, and he keeps going on.
He won't stop.
He won't. He can't stop.
You know, Conan, I'm on tour.
He can't stop.
I'm on tour. I'm a stand-up comedian now. Of course you are, Larry.
He's on tour, and he's saying stories. He's telling stories on tour.
Telling stories about when I told Moses, never mind the bush. I'm talking to you.
You know who I saw?
Who'd you see?
I saw at the Geffen Playhouse, Mel Brooks. Gave a little chat.
What are you talking about?
Mel Brooks.
Really?
Yeah. A little while ago, something for cancer or something. He came out and he
Like
gave
an evening with
yes,
Mel Brooks?
an evening, and then he took some Q&A.
Oh my goodness.
And
Was it the Geffen Playhouse?
yeah, at the Geffen Playhouse, and I got a picture with him and Carl Reiner.
What the hell?
Carl Reiner was in the audience.
Judd Apatow was there. He posted a pic of the three of them on Twitter.
He did. Was this recently?
Yeah, pretty recent, a little while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carl Reiner, who had just had knee surgery, like 5 days. I'm making it more dramatic. Maybe it was 10, but 5 days before, and he showed up to be with his buddy,
Nice.
and the audience, Mel Brooks.
Right.
Mel told a story. How much time do we have?
Plenty.
He says, I had a question for him. I had some stuff, but people were already saying what I had in mind. It was a love fest. I just wanted to hear Mel talk.
Sure.
But some guy's like, Mel, what about that story of you and Sid when you were in New York City? No, you were in Chicago, because they were vice versa, New York or Chicago. They were in Chicago. And Sid Caesar got out of the car and he's like, oh, yeah. Sid had a temper. Mm-hmm. Sid had a temper. And we were in Chicago and we were driving and we were in traffic, and this is 1950-something, and some guy in the traffic, Sid had an altercation driving with some guy, and some guy called Sid an SOB. You don't call Sid Caesar an SOB. And so the guy stops and Sid pulls over, and Sid's getting out of the car, and Mel's, I'm being Mel now, he's like, Sid, don't get out, let it go. We're from New York, we're not in Chicago, this isn't our town, I'm just going to talk to him. Sid gets out. Do you know the story?
No.
I'm just going to talk to him. So Sid gets out and starts walking towards the guy, and Mel's chasing after Sid. And the guy's in the car, and he has this window rolled up, so he opens up the little triangle window, from back in the day. And Sid Caesar leans into the guy, and the guy's like, look, I'm sorry, I cut you off, whatever. And Sid's like, nah, forget about that. Do you remember the day you were born? And the guy's like, look, mister, I'm sorry if I cut you off. He goes, nah, that's in the past. Do you remember the day you were born? And the guy's like, no. And Caesar says to the guy, well, don't worry, because we're about to recreate it. And he reached through and grabbed the guy, started to pull him out. And Mo Brooks had to jump on his back, said, leave him alone, because Sid was a big guy.
Huge.
And apparently he had this crazy temper. So,
tried to pull him through the triangle. The wedge, as it were.
The wedge.
Ah, man.
Good times.
Again, thank you very, very much, honestly. We're huge fans. We look forward to the next phase of the show and your continued success.
Should be fun.
We're big fans, and honestly,
thank you. My pleasure.
Sit there uncomfortably for another 9 seconds.
Okay.
And I'll wrap things up here. I want to thank the crew once again here in the studio, Dr. Chen, Sam Levine, the Sam Levine, Jamie Foxx, not the one with the Academy Award. Out there, we've got Emily Goodwin, Josh Negrin, J-Mac, or Jason McIntyre, and our fearless director, leader, Mike Rodman. On makeup today, least we forget, Kelly LeBonco. Did I get it close?
I don't know.
Not bad, right? Hey, LeBonco. All right, next week, very excited to have Damon
Lindelof. Hey, you got it.
Thank you.
Nice job.
I can say Lindelof. How tough could it be? It's Damon Lindelof. Everybody knows that.
Can we roll the tape? Find out how tough it could be.
I wonder what the crew gag could possibly be up to. The crew.
How dare you?
We've been in here for an hour and 53 minutes, and they've been out there, and I wonder if there's some sort of photographic evidence of what they've been up to. Everyone's gathering around. This must be some kind of special treat that you all wanted to see.
It.
Because that monitor's still
all
not
right.
working.
Let's roll it. Happy Father's Day.
Oh, that's nice. Exclamation.
Exclamation point.
And hey, it's Kelly.
Kelly. Josh.
Wait, what? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Mayday.
This is...
Yep.
She telling him...
He wishes he could run away, but instead he's gonna... Oh, I thought he was gonna explode.
Sit there and sulk. Wow.
That was great.
Wow.
Woo! Bad news for Negrin.
I think it's worse news for Kelly.
Oh.
And more importantly, pantomime lives. Mime lives.
Yeah, right.
I don't need...
Well, you said Red Skelton earlier.
Tribute to Marcel. Yes, and Red Skelton.
All right, and then so Damon next Sunday, and then we're going to pre-record Allison Brie for the 3rd of July. No, that's for the middle of July during.
We've got Don Cheadle on the 10th.
Carmageddon. Yeah. We're going to take 4th of July off, and then Don Cheadle on the 10th, and then Allison Brie on the 17th. All right, check the calendar. We thank you so much, and thanks again to little Emily Binion for her version of Chat Show. And as she said, and I repeat, as always, get out of my face.